trying to get out, as a matter of fact, and I hit a very easy catch to somebody in the outfield and he dropped me, so I had to repeat it all over again. Got caught the next time. You see, it's perfectly obvious as what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get out. And I made sure that Fleetwood Smith got my wicket. I was always concerned that I did not want to lead the life of a professional cricketer, dependent on cricket for a living. I wanted to get some business career of my own that was outside sport. And Mr. Hodgetts, who was a member of the Australian Cricket Board and a leading figure in the South Australian Cricket Association, approached me and said if I came to Adelaide, he would give me a contract which would guarantee me a position with his firm for 6 years, would allow me time off to play cricket, and would teach me the business of stock and share broking. Now, this was an offer that was too good to refuse. I didn't understand the business of stock and share broking at the time, but I was always interested in figures, mathematics, and so on. It appealed to me very much, and so I signed a contract with him, and that was that. Before we left Australia in 1934, I was examined, of course, by the board doctor, and I was passed by him as fit to go on the tour. But I was not well. I couldn't tell you what was the matter with me. I just felt off colour. I used to get very bad headaches, and I felt there was some doubt as to whether I was well enough to go on the tour. And I was still very unwell when I got to England, and I was still very off colour in the early matches of the tour. I knew I wasn't right, but nobody could find out what was the matter with me.
Bradman's health seemed to improve for a time, and he found his form in the fourth test, where he scored a triple century, again at Leeds, and with Bill Ponsford put on 388 in a record fourth-wicket partnership. In the fifth test, Bradman made 244 and Ponsford 266. Their partnership of 451 was the highest ever made in Test cricket.
To the Oval come all those thousands who intend to see the destination of the Ashes decided in the fifth and final match, the timeless test. Ponsford, the hero of many a match, reaches his fifth test century. Not long afterwards, the crowd is cheering Bradman for his 100. A quick single is nearly too quick for Ponsford. Don has now overhauled his partner and gets his 200. Then Ponsford. Still together, they set up the world's record partnership for any wicket, beating Hodds and Rhodes' stand of 323 at Melbourne in 1912.
The diagnosis was that I had appendicitis, and it turned into peritonitis. And in those days, you didn't have penicillin, you didn't have the modern antibiotics, and it was a very serious business. And I was actually in hospital for 5 weeks.
Is it true that Lady Bradman heard that you'd died?
She had to go by train to Melbourne, and then from Melbourne across to Perth to pick up the boat. And it was when she was in Melbourne that she heard this rumour that I had died. And she's a woman with a rather optimistic view of life, and she refused to believe it. And so she said, well, I want to ring the hospital and find out. And they rang the hospital straight away, and she spoke to the doctor. And, of course, I wasn't dead. I was still alive, and so she went on with the voyage.
Mrs. Bradman, followed by Don, leaves her hotel en route to catch the boat train at Victoria on their way back to Australia. It will be remembered that Mrs. Bradman rushed to England when her husband's health gave cause for anxiety after his operation.